All right, guys, week number 7 of the KCM Survival Series does continue. This is game number 4. Barracks on a nice win streak here, taking down Beast, Mighty, and Yabsab so far. Now going up against the second Protoss player in Movie. The map, Neo-Sylphid. Should be a good one. This is a great map for TVP, I think. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Before we really get started, thank you for checking out ArtosisCasts YouTube channel. I do appreciate it. Please do subscribe, hit that notification bell. Still haven't missed a day in over a year. So I hope that you guys are enjoying the Race Survival Series. I believe we have 10 weeks in this season. And then we'll get back to some other casts as well, possibly more of these in the future. Do let me know in the comments how you are enjoying this type of tournament play. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Neo-Sylphid for Terran vs. Protoss. Now, again, I think that this is a really good map for the matchup. It's got very interesting terrain features where different areas and times of the games kind of goes better or worse for one of the races. Like, for instance, right, you don't have a ramp, you just have a small choke. So that aspect, if Protoss decides to put on a lot of pressure, that can be a little bit tough for Terran. As the game expands outwards, you know, there are walls around your base rather than your base being on that high ground. Again, another situation that happens when you don't have a ramp, which makes shuttle play a little bit better as well. So things like Reaver drops you really do have to be looking out for. But as you get into the mid-game, the center of the map is not too long. It's a little bit wide open in the middle, but you do have some terrain features that we'll see this SCV going past. Like, for instance, this area, this is a possible third base in the center, and there's one at each location. Is a 3-player map. And this is not high ground, by the way, so it's just like terrain blockers. And those are not full minerals or gas here either. So even though it's an easy base to take, it's not necessarily a good third base because it kind of puts you on like a hyper 2-base timing because it'll run out about the same time as your natural because it does have so far fewer minerals and gas. And then, of course, being a 3-player map, you do have that other main base to fight over. So yeah, a lot of cool aspects of the map that, you know, I feel like it's one of my favorite maps ever. I've had a lot of interesting games on it, and one of my favorite maps to watch and cast on because, again, you know, a lot of pros have had just amazing back-and-forth games on this map. Now, the SCV did scout Movie first, follows that Zealot for a little bit, already a bunker on the way. I kind of like this very fast-forward bunker because it seems like what we're seeing here from Movie is that he does want to go for that early pressure play, right? Like, it's one Zealot directly into Dragoon. So if he can get over here before a bunker, it's a little bit hard to get one up. But we do get that bunker immediately. Now, let's see. It should just be the 2 depot expansion. Yeah, see, he's sending over more Marines. We see no 3rd depot, and that's why Barracks got the bunker right away. It's been pretty common recently to see players go for just like a 3rd depot and make more Marines against something like this, but instead, Barracks deciding he just doesn't want to screw around with that. He wants to get his command center a little bit faster and thus makes the bunker early. Now, SCV still scouting, does see the timing of this Nexus nice and fast for Movie. I think that he actually made a really good choice here, right? Like, it looked like he wanted to pressure, and as he sees the bunker, it becomes somewhat pointless. You know, until you have the range upgrade, at least. So why not throw that Nexus down right away? Now, we do have the Vulture coming out. Kind of interesting to see. When you see the bunker this early, you normally don't really expect the Vulture, but let's see. Movie is somewhat ready for it. Let's see if he sends the Dragoon. Yeah, he's going to send the Dragoon, but put the Zealot back in the choke just in case. And the Dragoon does end up seeing that Vulture, so he's got to play a little bit carefully around that. Now, we have the command center coming, but also a starport. Okay, so very, very fast drops are going to be coming up. One thing to mention is that it's speed first here for the Vultures. So that's a little bit rough, right? If the Dragoons come down and pressure the bunker, you're not going to have any mines to kind of push that away. Yeah, so it gives you more potential for probe kills, though. But I guess that's more on what your opponent does rather than you. You know, Barracks has lined himself up to possibly kill a ton of probes when he gets that drop-off. The Vulture heading back towards that main base. Probably get repaired a little bit. 3 Vultures already out with the 4th on the way. Speed almost done here as well. And I love these 2 sitting on the side. Let's see where Movie actually goes with his Dragoons. No, it looks like he does want to go home. Starting to set up a little wall of units here. Normally you do get several pylons in here as well to help close that off. Pylons being set on the edge of the base. Good for building, good for spotting. And the dropship's on the way. So, like, a lot of this game right now is hinged upon whether Movie moves his Dragoons back into his main base, because he actually doesn't know what's going on. He never really put any pressure on despite the pretty quick range. He just walked around the middle of the map chasing a single Vulture, so he hasn't seen the other ones or anything. As far as he knows, there's siege tanks being made right now. The first observer is coming, though, and it's possible that it flies right over these. Oh, you see 4 Vultures sitting there. You know exactly what's going on. He's going to send all his Dragoons back immediately. Here we go. So, a little bit unfortunate there from Barracks. I'm actually kind of surprised, to be honest, that he used such a direct path. A lot of the times, you want to come in from, like, a very funny angle. Wow, almost loses that, but that is just a trick as he runs into the natural here with those speed Vultures. But nice probe blocks. Do block quite a few. He's still getting a lot of probes, though. And you know what? 26 probes to 34 SCVs. So, I mean, being up 8 workers after that, and he did not lose the dropship, absolutely fantastic here for Barracks. Definitely a strong position. Now, how does Movie fight back? Well, I think you have to take it slow. I doubt that any sort of attack is really going to work. I guess technically siege mode is not done. Maybe, well, he's going to put some pressure on. He does have 4 more goons coming, but siege should be done as these 4 goons arrive. So just as long as you're careful here and you get your SCVs in front, I don't think that there's any way for him to die. All right, Zealot coming up as well. That is a lot of Dragoons. 8 Dragoons and a Zealot. Okay, he's got to get those SCVs onto the bunker immediately. Siege is up, and he's not going to be able to save the bunker, but I think he's still fine here. It's got enough buffering for those siege tanks, and of course the Dragoons do have to pull back. In the meantime, Movie making this 3rd Nexus. Hasn't really found any damage. Trying to recover his probe count, and he's doing all right, right? He's only 6 probes behind instead of 8 now. And we haven't had the comm stats made yet for Barracks, so he will eventually catch up, and obviously there's a cap to how many workers you want to make anyways. A couple Vultures going in this dropship. He does have a reasonable Sim City here. Stargate coming up. Oh, that's a very good scout right there. And these 2 Vultures being dropped off. How much damage will they actually get? Not too much. Looks like about 1 probe killed off. Yeah, and that is going to be that. Looking over at Barracks base, adding a couple of factories. Very, very standard. After dropship openers, generally go to 4 or 5 factories before your 3rd base because you are so far behind, right? You're sacrificing a lot of Vultures. Your tank production is slow and late, so you don't really have enough to expand until you really get that factory count up. But definitely a very strong way to play. Very trendy right now. Rush likes to do it quite a bit himself, being one of the best Terrans in the world. And of course, we see it here from Barracks as well. So just laying a few mines around. Does catch Movie's Dragoons for a moment. That +1 on the way. Arbiter Tech coming up here for Movie. And, you know, I gotta say, I want to give some props to the way that Movie's playing this, right? He's not being overly aggressive. Like, he moved out 1 time, looking for some possible damage with those Dragoons, which I guess why not? Your opponent did just spend 4 Vultures. Nice little drop into the main base, and he actually is going to get a few more probes. No actual defense here, which is a little bit surprising considering Barracks has already shown that he wants to do drops. But back to what I was saying, I do think that overall the slow and consistent build-up here from Movie is probably the right play. Like, he's not in a great position right now. As you can see, the supplies are even, the workers are even, which is not really where you want to be, but he has a 3rd base. He has a good amount of Dragoons. And he's getting up into his Arbiters, which is very, very important, right? That's going to be an important unit that scales really well here and can help you to win some fights. In the meantime, Barracks over here has gone up to 6 factories, getting his academy just now. I don't see the science facility, actually. Yeah, we don't actually have a science facility. So maybe a little bit of a mistake here from Barracks, unless he's planning on doing, like, an almost all-in 2-base attack. Because he's about to have +1 finish. He already has the starport. So, like, if 2-1 isn't starting, generally at higher levels, this means that you are just going for an attack, and I think that that is the case. This has gotten a little bit popular with Terran players lately to just add a bunch of factories and try to attack on 2 bases. Normally, timing attacks don't work all that well, but he did some reasonable damage with those vultures, right? Like, the supply is not that far forward for Movie, and honestly, he doesn't... This army is not that scary, I guess. Oh, but hold on. He is coming in with a flank right now. The couple zealots get on top of the tanks and kill 2, which is a big deal because we're down to just 7 siege tanks. And there's 7 goons. There's another 6, so we have 13 goons there, plus speedlots coming out. Now, I guess, you know, it's kind of close. But here's, I think, the problem is that we don't have a great follow-up for Barracks right now if this doesn't work. Right? And he's coming up here. The speed zealots get on top of everything immediately. He's got to target these siege tanks. Oh, God. The zealots actually doing a fantastic job here. More vultures coming up, laying mines right now, walking forward, getting on top of them, and it looks like Movie is going to kill off the entire army. So, a little bit unfortunate because, again, there isn't a lot of follow-up for Barracks available, right? He stopped at 50 workers. He didn't get science facility. There it is now. He's like, okay, that didn't work. Let's add a science facility. And now he's like lost a lot of the units that he worked up to. Part of the problem is when you open up with dropship play, again, your siege tanks are really, really late. So you don't actually have that large of a siege tank count compared to the move out time that you're utilizing. And we saw there, you had a little bit of a hard time at the beginning of the attack. Got slowed down quite a bit, didn't get a great position, and then Movie came back in. Now, Movie here with Arbiters, going to be faring a lot better. He's almost got enough mana here for a stasis, and 1 stasis on a clump like this will basically end the chances for Barracks to end the game. Because then you can kind of just swarm on top, push the army back, and then probably kill the tanks as they unfreeze. So, yeah, Movie has been steady. And I think the best play at this point for Barracks is to back up. Yeah, look at this. Making a turret, laying some mines. He's kind of taking a large area, which I think is definitely very smart. Movie doesn't have that much supply. You know, they've had a lot of fights. So I think taking an area like this is very, very doable. That's going to... Basically, if you're holding this area, where does Movie attack in from? I guess he can try to go through this small area, but that's not going to be very easy to attack. And it also helps Barracks to take this base and this base. And I mean, once you have all of those, it's 5 bases for Terran. That would look fantastic. Movie right now, just gateways, continuing to mine his minerals and taking a 4th base. So the 4th base is pretty well timed against the 3rd of Terran, but he is going to have to think of 1 more base as well. Taking a look, EMP is on the way. We have Recall coming up for Movie as well. Recall very, very strong on Neo Sylphid. And again, part of the reason is, look, all this darkness. You can't see the Arbiter coming unless you float, like, multiple buildings up. Also, there's some back ways that you can go in. Like, an Arbiter can fly across the bottom of the map down here and get into the main base, barely being hit by any turrets. So, yeah, there are some really good areas to utilize Recall on Neo Sylphid. Now, the 3rd command center is up, but as I mentioned, these are basically 2/3 on all the mineral patches, and this is less than half on the gas of a normal base. So those are some issues. Barracks, normally, I think if you take this, you should be basically going all in or immediately taking another base. In fact, I think this makes for a better 4th base than a 3rd base, honestly, but it is a little bit safer to take. He is setting up nicely. I don't think that Movie can actually attack in here. I'm not sure what he's doing here. Yeah, pulls back pretty quickly. Oh, recall time. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, that, I mean, yeah. He hit the MP. The recall still goes off. There's a long time that you can hit recall button for. And that's brutal because he didn't have a turret, he didn't have a mine. He was completely relying upon catching that with the EMP, and it did not work out for him, unfortunately. So this goes from a game that was pretty even to this is like a great tempo play for a movie. And I would, like, I think over here he maybe gained a slight edge or got even at least. And at this point, I think we definitely have an edge here for movie as he slows down Barracks quite a bit. So Barracks comes back, and I mean, he does kill it all off pretty quickly. Oh my god, a second recall on top of the siege tanks. That's actually, like, game-winning almost. You've just killed so many siege tanks. This is going to take so long to clean up. Tons of depots dying off. This is a huge deal right now. Very tough situation for Barracks to end up dealing with. Looks like the science facility going to end up falling. There's going to be a massive supply block incoming here as well. And we don't have an additional command center up, so it's not like the economy is all that good. Look at this. Movie attacking in once again. Really utilizing that tempo advantage of the Arbiter recall, right? Like that first one, it kills depots and makes you misplace your army. Then a second one comes in, and then an attack because now all of your units have had to move out of position. So well done here from Movie. Yeah, honestly, this just looks like a Movie victory to me at this point. 35 SCVs left. Movie is taking a 5th base. It's a little bit late on the 5th base, but the way the game has gone, gonna work out for him. Even has those equal upgrades at the moment. More units rallying in right now. I think Barracks is trying to clean everything up, and he'll take stock of this situation. But honestly, with the amount of damage being done, I wouldn't be surprised if he GG's here pretty quickly. You're just not going to be able to produce enough siege tanks to rehold your lines, enough anti-air to stop the Arbiters from coming in, and that's it. Movie knocks out Barracks.